morning everybody. We've got another overcast day here at Poolsbrook. This is round 4 of the autumn series. If you haven't seen any of the previous matches, they are all right here on this channel, the previous 3 rounds for you, if you want to follow how we've been getting on through this very challenging autumn series. It's round 4, it's a Sunday. We've got a bit of a wind blowing. This is a different direction from last week. On last week's match, if you want to watch it, I was over there on the early pegs. Now the wind's actually coming off those pegs today. I'm not saying that's going to make a difference, but last week there was, what little wind there was coming into us, and I think it looked ideal over there. However, today it's in a different direction. It's coming from the left and in, and this is going round the arm, down to where I was on round 1. But that's the only time that I've drawn on this bank in this competition. I was down there on round 1. Round 2 and round 3 I was over there, where you can drop your gear off behind your peg. So the current state of play, this is a weight competition, so it's cumulative weight over the 6 rounds, but you do drop your worst weight. And for me, I'm £1 off 4th, so I had a much better round last week. I changed a lot last week. I changed a lot the way that I was fishing. I changed my ground bait mix, I changed my approach, everything based on what I'd seen on round 1 and round 2. And last week it worked really well. So I'm going to go down that route again today, as you'd expect, but I have also changed a couple of things as well. I've just kind of hopefully fine-tuned things even further, but the draw will make a difference. Now, I don't know where the fish are going to be. It's the first time I've fished here in this series. It has been dominated so far with pole fishing, which obviously says that there have been lots of fish caught short, but I don't really know where I want to draw. So I'm going to get in there now. We're going to draw about 8:45, and it's well, I need some fish in front of me first, but my approach is going to be slightly different from last week. I'll just change 1 or 2 things, and hopefully I'm going to be able to find and pick out some of those better fish, because that's what I need to take these lads on who are catching lots of small fish on the pole. Well, I'm not getting to see much of this venue, am I? I'm over on peg 5. So I think I've been on peg 4. And I think, was I on 6 last week? No, sorry, now I'm on 5, and I think that's the one with the cage. I think. I'm not sure. If it is, then I have got a bit of a feature to cast to. 2 weeks ago, that peg was 2nd in the match. However, last week, it didn't produce anything. So I'm in familiar territory, so I'm going to go and make sure Dad's okay. Get the van over there. I can drop my gear off behind my peg over there, which is good. So I'll see you over there, and I'm going to talk you through the approach. Very familiar territory. Here we go, peg 5. There we go. That cage is actually, it's turned slightly. It wasn't in that position last time because you could cast down the side of it. So last week I was on peg 6 and I've been on peg 4. So here we go. Fantastic platforms here. Water clarity is about the same as last week, I would say. Yeah, lovely and comfortable platforms. Quite rocky on this inside, so I doubt I'll be able to fish really short today, but I think I'm obviously going to have to utilise that as cover and possibly a line in the open water. I've got Lee Cooper at the next peg, fantastic angler, knows the venue very well. He is going to be doing some whip fishing, I think, but I'm pretty sure he'll be putting a feeder up as well. So I'm going to get the gear out, get set up before that rain comes, and I'll talk you through everything once I'm settled. It's another rainy day. I've just gone back to the van just to make sure Dad's okay. I've set his brolly up in his chair under the trees if he decides he wants to come down, but I can't blame him for staying in the van. It's they have forecast this to be in for the day, but it's not really going to affect my approach or anything. And you know, I'm obviously basing a lot of what I'm going to do today on last week. So I'm going to fish 2 lines. I've got that cage slightly to my left. It's further out than what I thought actually, but there are rocks just this side of it, so that is going to be my short line, and it's a little bit further out than I wanted, I'll be honest with you, but it is down the side of that cage. It actually works out at exactly 20 meters, So that's going to be my short line, and then my longer line was last week at 30 meters, but because my shorter line is only at 20, I'm going to push my longer line out an extra 2 meters. It's just a confidence thing. So I've got 20 meters and 32 meters. Lee next to me said he'd seen a fish roll, and I have just seen another fish roll on that 30 meter sort of range. I don't know what they are, and that's it. I'm going to start long at 32 meters, feed the shorter line, and I've got a cage set up on both for both lines, and a method for both lines. I've got some pinkies, got some maggots. I'll show you that now. I'm just heading back now. Just gonna have a cup of coffee. Got some worms. Lee on my right is a very good feeder angler. However, I do know he has actually got the whip set up as well, so there could be times when he's catching small fish short that I'll just have to ignore. So here we are. I'll just show you this once. That's Dad's station for the day if he decides to come out. Yeah, I mean, it's basically the slims. I've got 3 slims set up, 11-foot slims, all with braid on. The 4th rod is an XRS light feeder, same sort of rod. It's just a soft feeder rod. I've got 2 for the 20 meter line and 2 for 32. I haven't really sorted the bait tray out yet, but I've got some worms there, selection of feeders, got some pinkies, some wafters in there, some pellets and some ground bait under there. The ground bait again is the same as last week, which is match method dark. So you can see the cage there. I know it's a little bit deceiving on camera, but just past the front edge of that it is actually 20 meters. So that's one line I'm going to have just about there, and then the other one is straight out in front of me at 32 meters. I'm going to start long, probably on the method, stay nice and confident, and feed this line at the start, and then just feel my way into it. As regards expectations, well, this is a weight competition. It's quite obvious that I need as much weight as possible to get me further up the league. Last week I had 17 pound on that peg there where Lee is, and that 17 pound was only made up of about 14 fish, something like that, so it gives you an idea of the stamp. I'd accept that now for today, but you know, if I can get that method right and there are some better bream out there on either line, then who knows, you know, I could get 20 pound plus, who knows. I've just got to get as much as I possibly can. So that's it, I made my decision. There are 3 rounds left in this competition, so I need bigger fish. I'm not going to beat the lads on the whips and the poles with small fish on a feeder. It's just not going to happen. So that's it, I've got a very, very clear plan. That's it, rolling. Good luck, lads. Good luck, mate. Just had a last minute adjustment to make there. I'll feed that long line first. Everything's covered up because of the rain again. I'll have a quick look where Lee's cast that one. Make sure I'm not on his line. I'll put one out there first. Just ground bait. That doesn't look as far as what I thought it was going to be, that, to be fair. I'll get some bait in on this one now. This is the line that I'm going straight on, so I don't want to go piling loads of bait in. Just enough to kickstart it. That's all we've got there. Cage to empty, nice. I'm hoping that rain's going to not get any heavier than it is now. We've got the wind off us back here. It's not something I really mentioned when I got here, but the wind's off our back here, so it's blowing down into that arm down there, down where I was on round 1. That's the one that's got some food in it. Just gonna put one more of them in. That's all what's gone in there. One more in, and then I'm going to feed that shorter 20 metre line next to the cage. I didn't realise that cage was moving as much as it is. It's I thought it was tethered stiller than what it actually is, but it's moving quite a bit, so I'm going to have to pick a line that sometimes will be further away from the cage than other times, just purely because if I have it too close to the cage on some casts, on the other casts I won't be able to get there because the cage will be over the top of where the feeder's gone in, if that makes sense. That's it. Empty that A little flick, and want to empty where the clip is. Probably going to put 4 in on 4 feeders full on that short line now, just because I plan on leaving it for a while. Just going to leave that there. No hook length on. And this is the XRC 11-foot light feeder. So, as you can imagine, based on last week, I feel super confident in feeding quite a few pellets on this line, just because I know that they shouldn't be getting eaten as much. Look how far away the cage is now. It's virtually, the edge of it is just to the right of that big pylon. In a moment it'll be about probably nearly a metre to the right, so I'm going to have to go somewhere there. See, it's actually moving back now, back to the right, so I'd rather pick a spot that might be a little bit further away, but a spot that I can fish all day or reach all day. So put some micros in there and some worms. I'm going to put 4 in on this one, and hopefully in that time a fish might have found some bait on that 32 metre line. See how that cage has come back now? See, it's virtually right next to the feeder now, so that's something I'm going to have to watch all day. Hopefully where it is now it's not going to go any further to the right. It's stopped now, so that's literally on that feeder pull, that is about over the top of it. I'm just hoping, based on what I've learned from being on this section for 2 previous sessions, is that I don't want those little tiny perch to home in on this bait, so that's why I'm sticking to mainly micros and a bit of worm. I'm not going to introduce any pinkies or anything like that. I just don't want to encourage them fish. Once they're in your swim you can't catch anything else, and they're really tiny. How close that is now, even on that same line, how close it is to that cage. Just going to put 1 more in with just pellets in. I'm going to start on, I think I'm going to start on a conventional feeder. I was going to start on a method, but I've changed my mind. I'm going to start on a conventional on that long line, just with 2 or 3 pinkies on. Let's see if we can pick off an early fish with a longer hook length. That's the 4th and final one. That is it. About a metre and a half back from that spot. This was at 20 metres. About a metre and a half back. That's where the rocks. There are rocks from there all the way back. So that's why I couldn't really come back any closer than that. Because last week on the pig to my right, I caught at 14 metres. That was my shortest line. So there we go. That's fed. Just got a 50 centimetre hook length, which is a bit longer than what I started with last week. But I just want to start on this just to find out if there's anything out there. If there are fish moving about, milling around the feed and stuff, I can shorten this hook length, but as I've already mentioned, if it gets to that stage I may find that a method feeder is more effective, which is what I've already got set up. Some nice bright coloured pinkies on. Let's put 3 on. Let's go for it. Let's go for a skimmer, a big skimmer or a braid. There's a few micros in the feeder. I'm not going to go deaf now, so I've already put some bait out there, so I don't want to go piling loads of bait in, because we don't know how good or bad the fishing's going to be. So if it is going to be hard, don't want to blow it too early. That's it. Little tip down. Lee's just netted one next to me, like a skimmer. Good sign. So yeah, so Lee's had a skimmer already, which is encouraging. Get that next feeder full lined up. I'm only going to have a couple of casts on this just to see if there's anything there. And if I don't get any positive signs, I'm going to have a switch to the method. I don't want any little perch hammering that straight away anyway, which was good. If you haven't watched the other previous rounds to this, when I say little perch, they're all literally that big. They're way too small to catch on a feeder. The lads fishing a pole, 3-4 metres, can obviously catch big numbers of them quickly, and that's why my approach is very much around targeting bonus fish now. Well, it's been out there about 4.5 minutes. Tiny little indication. I think it's a skimmer, this one. Just only 3 pinkies. Just about to reel in, actually. There we go. That's a good start. Oh, it's come out in the net. I'm going to have another cast out on that. I was going to have a cast out on the method feeder, but I think I'm going to stick with that for the moment. Just to get a bit of bait in. Set the stopwatch on this cast as well. That's a confident start anyway, especially with it being a skimmer. Any fish first cast is good, but with it being a skimmer as well, it's encouraging. Tighten up to that feeder, that longer up length. We have a chance of a bite on the drop, which is why I started on that and not a method. Well, we see that was a really fast knock then. That was like a small fish indication. Just a really fast knock. Well, this one's been out there 2.5 minutes. That was a really fast bite. One of the big changes that I've made this week is I've switched to braid on the main line instead of mono on this rig. I think that was reflected in the bite. That would have been completely different last week on the on mono. There we go. Slightly bigger than the last one. They're all welcome at this stage. It hasn't been out there too long either, which is good. Just make sure the hook bait's alright. No ground bait that time, just pellets. Got loads of confidence in this method after last week. We can get this down the side of that duck. Watch out, duck. Well, I've gone straight to it. That's the quickest bite I've had on here on this. It's really encouraging that. I'm going to bring my rod over to the right here because I don't want to encourage any fish kiting to the left because of that cage. That cage is tethered. That's something I need to think about if I do hook any bonus fish, but just try and make sure by getting the rod over to the right. Can't believe how quick that came. And a skimmer. Wow, we don't catch them quicker than that on a method, are we? Well, we've been fishing, just coming up to 40 minutes. I've just had a liner on that. It's only been out there 3.5 minutes. It's a really big liner. But because I'm spending a bit more time on that line, I really need to top up my short line because it's been 40 minutes now, so I want to keep that line alive. Even though I'm expecting fish to be around that cage or island or whatever you want to call it, I still want to give them a reason to be settled on this bait, or at least be used to it there, so that when I go on it, hopefully I'll catch straight away. But I'm just only going to put one in on it, so I don't know how long it's going to be until I'm on it. Just put that one in, then I'm going to go back out on that 32 metre line. Lad on my left, I've heard him net 2 fish. He's fishing the pole, so I can't actually see him, but just through the grass I can tell he's fishing a pole, and I've heard him net 2 fish. Don't know how big they were. I think Lee's just got that one fish on my right, but other than that, you know, we can't see any other anglers, there's no one walking around. So you know, just got to kind of just fish your own match. And with it being a weight league, I know it sounds daft because that's all we do anyway, but we just got to try and get as much weight as we can. Just going to put a tiny bit of ground bait on that this time, just to get something falling off it. A bit of added attraction. It's deeper water. But yeah, that was a big liner I had on that last cast, which would signal there's still one or two fish out there, so no need to change in a minute. Well, we have been fishing an hour, and it's really slowed down on this long line. Strangely enough, last time I checked in with you I had a big liner, and then the next cast I had a bit of a sharp rattle, as though something had a go at it or it was caught up round the line, and then the next cast I had another rattle, and then absolutely nothing. So I'm going to come off it now. I want to leave some bait out there, so I'm just going to give this another 30 seconds or so, just give it a chance, and then I'm going to put another, just fill the feeder up with some bait in, and there we go. Oh no, it's come off. That was a mega quick pull, that bite, that. Oh, what do I do now? Well, I wonder what that was. I think I'm going to do what I said, even though I've just done that. So I'm going to put some pellets on like that, just so that they stay on to get out there to the bottom. Then I'm going to empty that and then have a quick look. On that shorter line. I might just give this line a few minutes just to kind of reset. And that was obviously a fish there, so oh, that's annoying. Just empty that bait off. I'm going to have a look on that short line now, so I'm only have a couple of quick casts on that, a couple of 5-minute casts maybe, just to see if there's anything on it. I'm sure if there's any fish there, you know, I'll get liners or whatever. But if not, then that one feeder full of bait that I've just put out on that long line might be enough just to reset that line and let some fish regroup. So I'm going to go straight onto this, exactly the same setup as on my long line. I'm going to kick off with the same hook bait, just purely because that's where my confidence is now. For now, Lee's had a second fish on my right and a lot on my left. I think he's had 3 on the pole now. So I've got 5 skimmers. I'm doing alright. It's taken quite a while to catch them, and we haven't had a bream yet or any better stamp fish, so it's something that hopefully will change. Right then, let's get this in place. Get online. The cage has just moved to the far left again now. That breeze has just pushed it, so I've got to go on the line of where I fed, which is there. Set that stopwatch. It'd be nice if there's some fish settled on this. 3 minutes this has been out there. This is first cast on that short line, which is encouraging. Didn't get any indications before the bite. No liners or... That's good. So I'm caught on both lines now, which is really encouraging. Not big fish, but just got to take what we can. I just have to be very mindful now about how long I'm leaving that long line now without feeding it. Fed it on half. So if I end up staying on this line, which would be nice. I don't mind what line I'm catching off, but I'll just make sure I keep it topped up. My cage has moved back to the right a bit again now. That's good. I'm caught on both lines, yeah. First cast on a conventional rig on the short line. I thought I had to try it. I was getting little indications. I'm going to have another cast on it. I'm not just going to rule it out on that. Getting 1 or 2, not many, little indications on that method feeder on that short line, but it's just not working at the minute. We're 2 hours in. I've got 7 skimmers, and I'm just hardly getting any indications whatsoever now, and I'm certainly not catching the stamper fish that I need. I'm very, very concerned about that, so I think that might be slowly determining the rest of my match. But it's certainly not as good as last week, and there's definitely an absence of those better stamp fish. Oh, there we go, we just took one on that. That feels like a skimmer. Just while I was tightening up, I thought a little perch had grabbed it. Definitely hard work today. Just got to keep fighting for every fish you can get, really. Well, stamp fish anyway. I think if you put pinkies through and worms, you're going to catch those little perch, but they're no good. Absolutely no use to us that are chasing those weights. We need net fish. So I'm glad I had that extra cast on that. So there we go. Maybe I've just got to keep changing. Well, there's a few fish there now on that short line. I'm just fishing a little cage feeder. A cage feeder next to the cage, and I have had a couple of skimmers on it. I'm up to nine skimmers now, but they're not big fish. So on this line I've had a couple of skimmers, I've had a couple of chunky perch, and 2 or 3 other little fish quite quickly. I don't know what I've put in the net, probably a pound. It'd be nice if we could pick out the odd better skimmer on this, but just holding the rod. Most of the bites have come really, there we go, really quickly. And you know, whilst these aren't big fish, yeah, this is only a little perch again. Lee's struggling with these fish now on his long feeder line. He's literally just he's put that down now. He's gone onto his short pole line because he says he might as well catch those little fish much quicker at short range on the pole. So I'm just going to persevere with this a little bit longer. If those little perch do dominate, then I'm going to have to come off it and just go back, or at least stay on this line but fish it with the method feeder. But I'm just really concerned that, you know, we're not catching the stamper fish that we need. There's only really one person catching well that we've heard of, and that is Martin, who's winning the league. Well, he's won up the first 3 matches just fishing the pole, and he had 80 fish about half an hour ago, so he's going to be on for another good weight. He's way over to my right. That's another fish. You see, these bites are coming quickly, but just not convinced you're going to get the weight of them that you need, not on the feeder. See, perch again. If the odd one was a skimmer, which early on it was, I did get 2. I'm going to have a few more casts on this. Like I say, I don't have to come off this line straight away. I can just put a method feeder over on it, and you know, and be a lot more selective. There's 2 pinkies. These little perch might just dominate now, but I've got to give it a chance. Just put one feeder full in out on my 32 metre line just to keep it topped up. Yeah, another perch. Yeah, it looks like they've completely taken over. I'm going to have one more cast on this. I'm very conscious of the time. He's catching on his whip now, 3 metres to hand or whatever it is. Catching those little fish, as you can imagine, I'm catching them much quicker on that. Just going to have one more cast on this, see if I can get some sign of a better stamp fish. If not, it's going to have to be back on the method. Yep, another perch. What I'm going to do, because there is some activity there, I'm going to have another cast on this line, but I'm going to do it with the method, just in case there are any skimmers around all that activity. See if I can pick one out before I have a look back long again. we are into the final 2 hours. It's 1:30, and that last period has been really difficult. Oh, see, that was an indication there. That last period has been really difficult. I have managed to find 2 skimmers, so on that short line, thankfully, after all those little perch moved in. I decided before I ditched it completely and came off it, I just wanted to have a look on it with the method feeder, just to see if all the activity and then perch and that being there, if there were any skimmers knocking around. And I managed to get 2 on it, so I'm up to 11 skimmers now, but the stamp isn't anywhere near what we need them to be, and that's going to be an issue. So after that I got the 2, and then that's it. So that short line had died. So basically I've just topped it up with 2 6-hole size feeders. I've just put 2 in on it just to push it a little bit. We're getting to the time of day now where this venue apparently is known for fish coming in. You know, sometimes, quite often, they can catch late short, and as you know, I haven't got a line shorter than the cage line. I just can't fish really any shorter than that properly because it's too rocky. So that is my short line, but I've pushed it a little bit. I need some weight, you know. £10 today is not going to be enough for me. If I'm going to get that, I haven't got that now, so it's not going to be enough. So I'm going to push it. I'd rather give myself a chance rather than just bitting and batting little perch and you know, and ending up with a mediocre kind of a weight. I'd rather just try and push it to give myself either a chance of catching bigger fish, if I can catch 1 or 2 bream, or to see if I can have a good run of skimmers. And I've just gone back long now, so I'm back out at 32 metres on a method. I've had 2 tiny little indications. I have kept that line topped up, but I really feel as though this is going to be the method to catch a better stamp fish. But I've had so many quiet spells, I'm not catching anything in between. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to fish this out. I'm just going to give this about another minute or 2, and if I don't get anything, I'm going to have a cast on it with the conventional rig, just to see if I can pick one up with that longer hook length, just to see if there are any fish out there. And what I'll do when I do that is I'll start introducing a bit of feed through the cage feeder, just to try and spur something, so that if I am going to have to come off it, if it's a wasted visit, I have actually tried to create a bit of activity, you know, and I've left some feed out there, if that makes sense. So I'm just going to give this about another minute or so, and then if it doesn't go, I'm going to try that conventional, and then by that stage, you know, I'll be able to make a decision about whether it's time to go on that short line again and just push it a little bit. I just want to give myself a chance. Well, I've just fed that long line, just kind of set it up, pushed it quite hard to be fair, and this is my first cast back on that short line. Been out there just under 4 minutes. I had a couple of little indications while it was in. Looked like small fish rattles, to be honest. Better stamp fish. That's better. They're the ones that we want. No, they're the ones that we need. And bigger. That's what I wanted to do on that short line, just try and give myself a chance. And hopefully there's going to be some more. We've still got, it's just come up to 2 o'clock now, so there's still an hour and a half to go yet. Well, I've just had a really big bang on the rod. I can't believe there was nothing there. Don't know if it was a liner. It was really fast, aggressive. I was really considering just coming off this line, and after that, you know, just resting it. I've decided to have another cast on it. It's only been there a couple of minutes. Found another one of the better stamp ones. That's what we need. They're what we need. That's what I wanted to kind of push this line for. And still got an hour and 10 minutes, which is really encouraging. So what's happened there? My hook length broke off somehow for some reason, so I'm just going to change that and obviously go straight back on that short line. It's 25 minutes since I've fed that long line, so I'm happy to leave that a bit longer without topping it up. Oh, good to get one last cast. If anybody had asked me what I weighed, I wouldn't have thought I'd weighed that. I was hoping for over £10, and they've actually weighed £14 odd, which I'm happy with. I've got to admit that. But as suspected, Lee has beat me. He's had £15 one, I think. I've had £14 odd. So I knew it was going to be close between us because of all those pole fish have literally just made a massive difference. He has caught about 7 skimmers on the feeder, but then obviously for the remaining 3 hours or whatever, he just kept putting fish in the net on the pole. Just like I said, you know, it's taken me a long time to catch those fish, and in that time, anglers like Lee who are fishing short poles, they're putting fish in the net, you know, and if any bonus fish come along, like a bonus skimmer or a bream, then that's how obviously they're taking them. He has had a bream late on, which he says that's what's helped him beat me, but in full respect to him, you know, he's had another 30 small fish to go with that as well. So without all them, he would have needed 2 bream. Are you with me? Or 3 bream. So that's tactics. That you know, that's methods, and that's what's been happening. I think Martin's got a top weight again. Martin, who's winning the league, he's had £20 down there. So he's pretty much not going to get caught, I wouldn't have thought. So for me, I obviously just need to see what the other anglers have caught. But I've had a £14 odd back onto my tally, and I think I've learnt a little bit. I was hoping for a bigger weight than last week, or the last round, but I have caught all my fish on the method that I fished last week. But I still think there is room for improvement there. But I think it's a feeding thing. So there we go. Another £14 odd to go onto my tally. We now have 2 rounds to go, and you do drop your worst weight, so it's going to go right to the wire. But I've enjoyed it despite the weather. I don't only go fishing when it rains, I promise you. But I hope you've enjoyed sharing this round 4 match with me. Hope you have. If you have, please give it a thumbs up, and that tells me that you'd like to see more videos like this. And hit subscribe if you're new to the channel, so you don't miss out on any future uploads. So that's round 4 done with. The next 2 Sundays will be round 5 and round 6. I think I've made my bed. I'm not going to bring the pole, I've already said that. I'm going to stick to this feeder approach, and it looks like it's going to revolve heavily around the method feeder, trying to pick out those better stamp fish. So thanks for watching, and I look forward to seeing you next week.